The tape. Okay, that was really bad.
Recording. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Wait, Rewind the Tape, my standard intro line. With me, Natalie.
And me, Ruth.
Yay! And today we have actually done some planning, and not just the planning that we do at the end of the previous episode, which, by the way, we promptly ignore and do whatever we want.
Time.
We have actually got a little bit of a bit more structure, shall we say, to this week's episode, and kind of, I guess, harking back to the good old days of season 1. So
and we've also done it in a way so that if you want to listen to us talk shit for a bit and catch up on what we think about what's gone on in the week, you can do that and then you can fuck off. So you don't have to get spoilers if you haven't seen what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. You can, and then you can come back and listen to the review, quote unquote, of the film once you've watched it. But yeah, you do get to listen to something on the day that it's released, should you wish. Or equally, if you really hate the preamble, you can just cut straight to the quote unquote review.
That is a fact. I forgot about that. It could work both ways.
So I just want to I'm gonna kick us off real quick with a note on last week's preamble, when we were talking about because obviously in the context of what's happened in this week, it could come across really the wrong way when we were talking about things that we think about, or kind of like morbid daydreams that we have. And I was saying that sometimes I'll think about something bad happening to me and talking about breaking the news to somebody. And I think as well that the people that I think about breaking the news to are usually people that I feel have done me wrong, is probably a bit strong, but essentially, yeah, done. And I think, and I was talking about it with my sister last weekend, and I realize now, like, penny drop moment, that it's basically so when I used to go to therapy, my therapist basically told me, which I think is really pertinent for so many people, that we relive relationships we've had in the past that were never that were kind of that hurt us, or that were problematic, because we're trying to find some kind of resolution and some closure on a past situation, something that could have happened even way back in your childhood. And then in your adult life, you keep then repeating that in real life with people until you, I suppose, can resolve whatever it is, or come to peace with whatever hurt it was that keeps you going back to those same relationships. And that's why you kind of keep repeating these cycles, because you, or like for me, I'm obviously trying to resolve this thing, and because I'm seeking it in the wrong places, and because it's the same kind of situations, not necessarily people, I won't say that, but the same situations I put myself in to resolve that, because I try and replicate these situations, it just, obviously it's never going to end well, because I'm just repeating history. So I think that when I think about those situations happening, it's like it's kind of trying to prove that I can I can do everything, I can overcome things, I can really achieve, I can try really hard. And it's the same reason I think why I with work, I'll put myself in situations where I'll take, it's either all or nothing. I'll either kind of like not really do anything, or I'll just take so much on that it's just really, it wouldn't be a sustainable amount of work in any one time. Like right now at the moment, I've got like 2 full-time contracts, another client, this podcast, and it is just, I'm not begrudging it, because it also means that when I do eventually take time off over the summer, I can really enjoy it. But I think it all goes back to this kind of trying to prove that you can do things, do it all, and almost martyr yourself to the effort and to the hustle. So yeah, that's it's just a real maybe heavy thing to start us off with. But I also wanted to, if anybody is no, don't say a sermon. Oh, God.
It was needed.
But it was, I guess, to give a bit more context to what we were discussing last week. And if anybody is rejoining us and not completely disgusted with like me revealing that kind of those thought patterns that I have last week and comes back to listen to this, I hope that you kind of understand maybe, or maybe that's the wrong word, but yeah, maybe you have a bit more of a fuller picture about that. And I'm not just
some more context.
Yeah, I'm not trivializing any of those like bad things. I'm not wishing them upon myself. It's more of just, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so.
Goodness, when you said that thing about taking on too many things to prove yourself, I was like, oh my God, I feel seen.
Yeah. So if again, and I guess that's sort of as well is maybe me trying to manage your expectations, if we seem a little bit low energy this episode, it's because we we definitely both are, because once again, we've just really overloaded our plates at the all-you-can-work buffet.
But I just don't even understand how I've managed to do that. And I feel I'm having a problem where I'm just getting really annoyed with myself because I'm like, why are you tired? Like, what have you done? Get up. Oh, man. I was telling Natalie before that I won't go into too much detail, but I think because I'm doing this like these online exercise classes, and I'm using weights. So you're supposed to use like obviously like 10 kg, but I use 3 kg because let me tell you,
that's
I'm
fine.
not about that life.
Also, that's because it's, lower impact, more repetition. So you're getting lean rather than
that's actually not true, because when I was working with my personal trainer and I was started with like I wanted to use 3s, he put me on 5s, and then I was using 10s, and I was like, you get a way better workout with 10s. You don't do anywhere near as much because you just like can't, but you feel so much physically stronger. Like I felt like I could fight someone.
But that's what with if you're on a lower weight, then you really have to do more repetitions. You can't get away with like the same one round that you would do on a higher weight.
That's the thing. I'm not gonna do more. I'm not.
I'm
telling you right now, it's not happening. Yeah. But yesterday's class was absolutely killer. And then I go on a walk as well every day. And so today's walk, I like could barely walk. Like I was walking so slowly. I was getting really frustrated. And I was really, really tired this morning as well. And it's just like there's some stuff I needed to finish that I didn't. But I can never finish the stuff I need to finish because I give myself a completely ridiculous list to get done in a day, which no one could do anyway. It's like you're going to do 2 of these things and get annoyed with yourself. But yeah, I was walking in like slow motion and I got home and I realized I actually have really severe trapped wind. So like there's a yoga squat position, the yogi squat. So I was in that, I'm not joking, I was in that for like as long as possible.
To try to release things.
Yeah, like nothing is moving. So it's like not only is my like buttocks and thighs like feel like stone from this fucking leg workout, I'm also just like, this trapped wind is giving me severe back pain. So I'm like, what the hell is going on with my body?
Why did I do this?
Anyway, why did I do it? Of course I'll do it again tomorrow,
It's like, it will be painful when that wind is released at first. But then it's going to feel really good. But
it's probably is going to,
yeah. I feel like a new woman.
I've got loads of fibre cereal now because like I've realised like without that cereal, like my fibre intake daily is like non-existent. I was like, why aren't I on a regular? Okay, this is too much information. We need to move on.
Yeah, okay.
Why do we open with such personal things?
I know, yeah. God, why straight into bowel movements? But normalize talking about bowel movements. and trapped
Normalising eating a shit.
I mean, yeah, the one thing that I'll say is just when I went on to a plant-based diet, it completely, and obviously that's a no-brainer, but it completely changed my movements.
But it's annoying me because it's like, okay, thinking about meat that I've eaten. I mean, I've been eating a lot of junk food, I won't lie to you. And the thing is, I've been eating a lot of bread, and bread isn't my friend. I'm not supposed to eat wheat. Like, I'm not going to lie. When I was little, I had a huge problem with constipation because I loved white bread so much. And it's like directly opposed to my body. Like, we don't get on at all. Like, one slice of white bread and I'm done. I'm done out here. I'm clogged up.
That Hovis is like calling your name.
Oh my God. I used to sneak to the kitchen and just eat white bread. And
not toasted or just like plain?
No, like literally a plain slice of white bread.
Did you ever? We used to eat white bread, and I don't know. Honestly, I don't know why my parents kind of even like allowed us to have it, because it's so bad for you. It is so full of sugar. Sometimes
it was the 90s.
True that, but like I think about what my parents would kind of feed us, and I'm like, look again and think. Your doctors, why were you
now that is the fact.
My dad known.
My dad will literally sit and eat McDonald's like for any meal that he chooses, and then he goes for a run every day, like literally it's his thing, 365 days a year, if there even is 364 and a quarter, whatever, I don't care.
He goes for a run and a quarter.
Oh my God, I don't fucking know how many days.
Besides the point.
I think there's more now. Or is it half a day more or half a day less?
No, it's 365 days and a quarter. And then in a leap year, it's 366. It hasn't, because
it's changed. Because it takes longer. Or there's something has changed. I'm not making this up.
Okay, well, I need proof. But we haven't changed the calendar days. It's not like suddenly February's got 30 days now.
Something like the Earth taking longer to orbit.
We've got massively off topic.
It's so interesting. It's space. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to have to get it for next week, but for now, you're going to have to take my word for it.
No.
I did not make this up. Not. I promise. I did not make it up, but because I don't know what to Google, it will just take too long, so there's just no point. But guys, I will put it in our Instagram stories. I will find that story for you.
Okay.
It's going to be something so silly. It's not going to be that at all. It's going to be like the Earth is taking 0.3 more seconds to orbit the Earth or something like that.
We're all just grinding to
the sun. Oh my God.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, your dad goes running every day.
Yeah, and he'll get on me because he'll be like, you have to do a form of physical exercise. And I'm like, you're sitting there eating McDonald's fries, talking to me.
Look what happens when I do exercise. The most painful trapped wind ever.
Oh my God. To be honest though, it is, for me, it's like a mental thing. I'm like a restless child. I don't exercise for like everyone exercises for a different reason, but for me, when I stop exercising completely, even though I think it's healthy to have a complete break from any physical movement sometimes, just to like try and unlearn this idea that you always have to be doing something. But I am a very like easily agitated person. Like if I stay, like I need movement. It's just how I am, because I think too much. I think way too much, and that's been pissing me off lately because it's wearing me out. And it doesn't achieve anything.
Yeah, overthinking.
Think. I'm just like, okay, I get it. You're a brain. Congrats. Oh my God.
Can I ask you a question related to white bread and your childhood?
Constipation. Oh,
no.
Yeah. Did you dip your white bread in hot chocolate?
No.
Okay, me neither.
Yeah, but wait, maybe you might think I'm strange when you hear what I actually did do, what we did.
What did you do?
So we would like break the bread up into small pieces, flatten it down, and then pretend it was the body of Christ.
I mean, if you've been to church once, you do.
Yeah, you've done
100%.
that, of course, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Get
that's
a bit
what.
of Ribena communion. Look what we were
Absolutely,
doing.
yeah.
Of course I did.
Just
you
checking.
mean pretend it was actually Christ's flesh?
No, like pretend you were taking Holy Communion and then like say,
wasn't that cool?
Body of Christ. No, I wasn't
100%.
like, this is actually, it was symbolic as it is in the church, you know? Yeah.
Shout out to the radicals who pretended to eat human flesh. Me and my brother, no, pretended. It just shows you have a fun imagination. You're probably writing zombie
that's what
short
people
stories.
are saying about Armie Hammer.
Who's that?
Oh
no, is it going to scare me when I'm on a walk?
I don't know, maybe. Armie, have you seen God, what's he in? He's in lots of things, but Call Me By Your Name.
No, you've talked to me about this before. I've never seen it.
Well, fantastic film, but one of the stars of it, Armie Hammer, has caught a case because of his I guess there's no other word for it. It's just his abusive nature towards women that he's been in relationships with, and very sexually explicit and harassing DMs to various people on Instagram, and kind of very scary verbalization of his cannibalism fantasies, but also like where women genuinely felt a threat. A genuine threat, not just it was a fantasy.
Physically abusive. That's kind of like a bit.
Yeah, so it is quite scary. And
that's terrifying, but honestly,
Yeah.
I'm not going to hold it against the rest of the cannibalism fantasy crew. No shade to them.
In these situations, in his case, he was grooming and grooming women to women. I don't know if it was to eat them, but grooming women into and coercing them into like sexual acts that they just didn't really feel comfortable doing, but because they were new to the kind of BDSM world or the fetish world, and he was saying this is all totally normal, this is all, he was really, it wasn't it wasn't consensual from their side, and it was definitely they entered into the relationship or into the acts under coercion and wanting to please him because he's a big Hollywood star. I've
never heard of that man.
Yeah.
But I know, I get it. He is who he is. Even if you met an accomplished actor who you'd never heard of, and then they were like talking to you and they showed you what they were in, you would be impressed regardless.
Yeah, and if you would, everybody, even not famous people, if you like somebody,
can manipulate you.
Yeah, if you really like somebody, even
if you don't, I've been manipulated by people who I'm like, I didn't even fucking find you funny. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah,
but I guess that's the whole point.
So from trapped wind to white bread to the body of Christ to cannibals.
I was going to tell you, me and my brother used to play church. So like we'd literally preach, we'd get all the teddies and we'd sit them like there with the congregation. And my mum was like, I'm not sure about this game. It sounds like you're making fun of church. We were like, it's fun.
or practicing to, because...
No, we were probably mocking heavily, but we were like, bearing in mind, we were like 6 and 7. So God knows what we were saying.
That reminds me of like... When we were younger, there were our dad basically kind of had his ideal list of professions that we would all be, and kind of it was like, well, these are I want one of my children to be a doctor was an obvious one, then an investment banker, and then a minister.
This is literally that program that got cancelled after one season, Dirty Sexy Money.
Oh, I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
You should watch it. One of them was a priest. Obviously, they were all corrupt. And they were rich, to be fair.
Yeah.
So maybe your dad was right. No, I'm joking. That was such a dickheady joke. I'm sorry.
But yeah,
guys, the love of money is the root of all evil. There are plenty of mistranslations in the Bible, but I'm pretty sure that one was bang on the money. Like,
I don't know how the priests or the monks let that one slip in, given their love of money.
The monks, they don't make money. Am I confusing them? They're like, I'm thinking of the monk in Robin Hood.
You mean like the badger one in the animal one, the Disney's animal one? Yeah, the only version. Oh yeah, Friar Tuck. Yeah, he was good. No, wait, that wasn't Friar Tuck.
I get them confused too. It's like, how are there so many and I only remember 2 names and 2 faces?
Friar Tuck was Little John is the bear. Friar Tuck is the monk because he's the friar. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Okay. And obviously Robin Hood is the smoking hot fox.
The bad bitch. This podcast is a mess.
Does he?
No, I actually love it now.
Wait,
the messier it is, the funnier it is.
Can you just look something up for me?
Is it about Robin Hood?
Yeah. Is he wearing pants?
I don't think he is. Yeah. No. He wears shorts or something.
Does he wear shorts?
Leggings.
Yeah. And I just want to make sure.
I've not even put in animated. I've just Googled Robin Hood. Oh,
No.
He doesn't.
Why does he not wear pants? I don't think Little John wears pants, but the friar wears like a full cassock. And like, how about Sir, where are your pants?
Isn't his little video? No wonder we fancied him.
Oh my God.
Saucy.
Wow. Anyway.
Speaking of saucy cartoon characters, the new Lola Bunny and the new Space Jam, they've de-sexified a word.
Oh, right. Have they, de-gendered? De-feminized?
They're saying they've desexualized. But I'm just like, basically she was wearing she was really thick and she had on booty shorts and a crop top. And I'm like, there were people online getting annoyed and everyone with sense was like, well, how can you get annoyed about that? She was obviously a sexualized cartoon character, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But this one woman, I was like, you know what? I agree with you. She was like, being sexy doesn't mean that you're like a bad or dumb person. She's just a sexy bunny.
Yeah. She's hot.
Her as a sexy bunny, like looking exactly the same. But then again, it's not to say that the new her isn't sexy. It's just the changes they've made to her body and like making her shorter and stuff. It's just like, it's like if Tyra Banks was originally in do you remember that Disney film where she's Barbie and she comes to life?
No, but kind of.
It's a good film.
That makes sense.
Look what I think is a good film. But they recast her because they were like, you know what, she's too sexy. I would personally be offended because I'm like, you can make my character more complex, but this is an animated cartoon, and honestly, Lola was doing a bit much. Anyway, either way, I love Lola Bunny, so I'm not going to say.
I've never seen the first one.
You've never seen Space Jam?
Nope.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Oh my God. Listeners, Natalie's never seen a Goofy movie and she's never seen Space Jam.
Okay, listeners, can you tell me how many times you've seen either of those movies? I do vividly.
Tell us your ethnicity too, because if you're black and you haven't seen Space Jam or a Goofy movie, you're a fucking liar.
I vividly remember Space Jam coming out at the cinema though, because it was big. It was massive.
It was huge. Michael Jordan.
I know, yeah, it was massive.
But who cares?
It's like, he is so bad at acting, we have to pit him against animated characters. Otherwise, it's just going to be
But
too
when I was little,
embarrassing.
I thought the film was, first of all, I thought it was the best film I'd ever seen. I was like, this is a phenomenon. And I thought he was brilliant. And then I watched it as an adult and I was like, is this the same film? This man is wooden as hell. No charisma. But when I was little, I was like, oh my God, Michael Jordan.
Well, it came out at the height of his. Was it the height or 10? Yeah, because
it wasn't the height of his like basketball career technically, but it was still Michael Jordan mania. Like I grew up when we were little, we were in Croydon. I had a Chicago Bulls hat on all the time. I didn't watch basketball. Like, why do I have this? I don't know. Anyway,
that is
shout out
funny.
to Michael Jordan. Yeah.
I
think he's a terrible person behind the scenes, but I refuse to believe it. I just want
Bugs Bunny refuses to speak to him offset.
If any of them was going to secretly be a dick, you know it would be Bugs Bunny, because it's always the person who you think would be the nicest person who's always a terrible person.
And Elmer Fudd would be.
Oh, I doubt it. I really hate that character. I don't understand why he hasn't been written out of it. Have you ever, oh my God, another thing, if you're bored, watch the latest, like the last version of Looney Tunes. It's like a cartoon series. I'm not joking. It's not for children. It's so funny.
Well, what do you mean the latest season? How, as in
like the latest version? So like, they always remake things. There's like 10 different versions of the Chipmunks. So I only know the first one. This was from, I want to say 4 years ago.
Okay.
I think it's actually on Disney Plus, or is it a cartoon?
But it was always a bit like, I don't know, a bit weird and a bit dark.
Yeah, but this is another level. This is like comedy writers have written this. Like stand-up comedy writers. That's what it feels like. Me and Jonathan used to watch it, and then they cancelled it. And we were like, "That's the best show you have." Like, what are you thinking?
Where is it even?
I'm sure it was on Cartoon Network at that time.
Oh well, I never had that.
But this is a new.
I think ITV had the Cartoon Network films, right? CITV.
I don't know. The only
of course you don't know because you had
CITV
Sky. You didn't need to watch any of this terrestrial bullshit.
No,
I had to flip between CBBC and CITV, and that's only if we ever arrived home. We were never home in time for any of this stuff because we were always at school in the late room.
Literally after school club, babysitters. Your parents aren't coming for you. I'm talking about myself.
And me too. It's like, you have to stay at
Listen,
school.
Sweetie, I'm working till 7. Good luck.
Yeah.
Which, when you think about it now, isn't even that late, but it's also
I'm telling you, when I think about how like mortified and how upset I'd be if I think our late room closed at 5:30, 6 at a push.
Yes,
an absolute push. And that's when like they were getting antsy and they were kind of really like, your parents need to come now. Sometimes they'd end up having to just lock up the school. Well, come hell or high water, and we would wait outside school and be, really upset and like sad. And when we get picked up, obviously just be a bit like probably sassy and not very nice. I'm like, that was not late. Now would, if I had a child, would struggle to go pick them up, and I wouldn't even I'd make the effort to pick them up, but if I couldn't, I'd be like, well, I'm sorry, I've got it's so hard to get out of calls and stuff and work now. I'm like, our parents were doctors, and how did they? And I'm here like,
but I still think it's not fair. Like, I feel like parents should be allowed to go and pick their kids up, then finish work after. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, they should have that flexibility. Like, it's not fair. Like, if I can go get my kids and lunch, like tea or whatever you call it, dinner's already ready, so I can go get my kids, they get home and they eat something, then I jump back on. Like, why can't I do that? I've got fucking children. What are they going to do? Walk home? Anyway. I guess
it's just a bit, it's hard with, I don't know how my parents did it, given that they would have had like clinical commitments. Yeah. So
Yeah, they couldn't
I don't
wait.
know. But
Then
then
there's things they should have had, seeing as, you know, you're doctors and you're helping the world. Why don't we give you some like after school, like, do you know what I mean? Some sort of sport money so you can go to get a different kind of babysitter who can go and, because I remember at different points in our lives, different people would like pick us up, whatever. So sometimes we would come straight home, but there was one point where we'd go to the after school club, then a babysitter would come and get us. So there's things that you can do. It's just expensive.
We had it's more. We had like au pairs and nannies and what, but it was. I don't think that they just couldn't drive. And then also my parents would have needed the car. So it would have been like, so do we also get a third car to get, you know?
Why is that so funny? Because I still can't drive. That would be me. Listen, sweetie, I don't know what to tell you.
I'm not picking the kids up.
You're like, you have one job.
I'll be here when they get home, but you know.
Definitely not picking them up.
But even now, obviously, when I'm working now, I'm so everyone is quite respectful of the need for parents to go and pick their kids up from school. No one thinks it's like an issue. And if, as long as you tell people in advance, you're like, look, I won't be online, so don't book meetings. That is fine. But I still think like knowing when you're working, and especially at the moment, when everything's like calls and whatever, it's sometimes really hard to just actually extricate yourself from stuff and then rush around, and like the stress that you have, like go pick the kids up, bring them back, make sure they're settled,
traffic
like,
as well.
and then do work after that. It's just like
I'm not doing work after that. I don't know. I just feel like I've always had this dream, and obviously it's very childish coming from how it was for me when I was younger. I always thought, wow, obviously I'll just have my own business and I'll be a crash downstairs. I genuinely thought that's how it was going to go. I was like, duh. I'm just going to work myself and everyone's going to love it because you can just pop down and see your kids whenever you want.
I have my own business with my own office, and I also have childcare for all of my employees.
Yes.
That sounds great. Hello. What's your business?
Oh my God, that's the thing about my dreams. I can see the office that I imagined, but I can't even remember what I actually did in those dreams. That should tell you how much I like working. I'm like, I'm just the boss.
Like, I don't know. I just make good decisions and people love me for it. I create a lovely, great working culture and an environment where people want to be doing what? I don't know.
Anything,
they will you figure it out.
For me.
You figure out what it is that this company does.
This is such a Michael Scott idea. No, this is a Ryan idea. It's even a word.
Oh God. Yeah.
I just get a really expensive building with childcare, and I'm like, just come in, just make money.
It's like, don't worry, you got a kid, we've got childcare, drop them off downstairs. And they're like, who's looking after the kid? Do they do learning? You're like, it's just a room. You just put them here.
No, I think I planned out what they were doing. Maybe that's the business. Maybe the business is that I want to go into childcare.
Could be, yeah.
I just don't want to, I'm an
look after the kids.
I'm good with kids. I just don't know if I can handle that level of responsibility. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can handle it.
Like
I remember like things like you picking up your kid, they've got a scratch on their head. I don't know how they got it. Maybe you should tell Ryan to stop being so vicious. How about that? But you can't say that. That's
yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Yes.
Wow, we've gone way over already. This is us trying to stick to our new structure. I knew we'd ignore it. I knew it.
Oh, this is us being like, look, we're really low energy. It's been a long week. It's only Tuesday. We record on Tuesday, guys. So this episode is probably going to be really short and like,
talk for 9 hours.
That cup of tea is really kicking in. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. It's hot water. How embarrassing.
Oh, I was actually just thinking about the cup of tea I had earlier.
You had tea? What kind of tea did you have?
Just breakfast tea. Look how suspicious
I am.
Just breakfast tea.
When did you drink breakfast tea? How do I not know that?
I drink so much breakfast tea.
When? I've never
oh my God. Breakfast tea is the drink that I drink most during the week.
What milk do you have in it?
Oat milk.
Okay, because I was going to say, I don't like soy milk in breakfast. It's disgusting.
Yeah,
I don't
almond
like
milk.
any variation of milk. Have you had hazelnut milk and do you like it?
Yeah, but I don't really like. No,
It's weird.
it's not
isn't it?
something
It's
that I
like-
would want as a milk substitute for my teas and coffees.
I didn't mind it in a hot chocolate.
Yeah, that's because then it's more like a Nutella-y kind of.
Yeah, vibe.
Yeah, it's more like I'd use it to create something desserty or sweet.
100. Oh my god, 100%.
Yeah.
It is. Oh my. Anyway, I'm doing it again.
Here we go.
Okay, so we're just going to quickly pinpoint blast through what's going on in the news this week.
Oh my
Because,
God.
honey, it's a fucking hot mess. Okay. First of all, this is basically all directed at the Conservative government, as usual. As you guys know, if you listen to this podcast, we do not fuck with them at all. They are ruining our lives, and yours too, if you haven't heard. Okay, so obviously, I'm so sorry if I will pronounce her surname wrong, but rest in peace to Sarah Everard. I've said it wrong, haven't I?
I don't know.
It's Everard. It is.
Everard?
Yeah, it has to be Rad because that's just a Rad sound. I digress. So to anybody who doesn't know, she went missing in Clapham and her body was found she was killed by a police officer basically, which is I wasn't following the story. My cousin was. I wasn't following that story at all. I didn't hear about it until her body was found. I literally didn't even see anything.
Well, she lived in Brixton and she was walking home from Clapham to Brixton, so it's super, super close to where I live. These are kind of like streets that I walk around, that I would like go close to walk my dog. So it's as soon as it I started seeing it being shared across my social channels super early on, and I saw like police crawling everywhere, task forces being set up.
Gosh.
And before I knew it, it was kind of like when things like this, this is so awful, but I think you might see things or people in your circles sharing things, but it might like when people go missing, or if things like this happen when it's on an individual level and it's not a this is so awful to say, and I've just found this week incredibly difficult, but if it's something that hasn't quite become a movement, you might see a few of your friends or people in your circle sharing posts about a missing person. This post went like, I saw people that or organizations that were local to me, which you kind of expect because it's happened locally. It's the area. So that happened. And then honestly, within less than 24 hours, everybody that I follow in Instagram that lives in London was sharing this. And these are people from
never seen anything like that.
All over London.
Never seen that happen.
Never. It was.
I didn't see a single person sharing it, which probably shows the difference in demographic of people, because I didn't see that at all. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying I literally didn't hear about it until it was national news.
Well, I think this is why I've found it difficult, because of the people. I suppose that when I see the people that were posting and sharing it, and not that they shouldn't have been doing that, not at all, of course, like it's a horrible thing that happened, and I think that getting the awareness up was great, but people where it's not even in their area, so how they like the way the news of this spread so quickly around London, and then I guess the UK was quite something. And then I guess in the context of the stories that don't get shared, I've just found it really, really difficult.
I'm used to things not getting like, obviously when you said a task force, I was like, what? I've never heard of that before in my life, honestly. I'm not saying there shouldn't be a task force, but I've honestly never heard of that. And it's funny, I'm not saying this to scare you, I promise, and I hope I don't regret saying this, but it's funny because do you remember I was talking to you about walking at night, and I was like, I would never walk at night, but you walk at night. I would never.
But what do you mean by walk? I have to because of Mango.
Yeah, but like I don't know how I would do it if I had a dog, because like my memories of like, because obviously when I was little we were in Croydon, but we also were in Peckham a lot, and we were in Brixton. So my memories of London at that time, like I don't know if I would just feel comfortable. But the mad thing is, forget all of that, because the mad thing is, it was a police
officer.
That is insane to me.
But then look at how quickly that was discovered, and he was, you know, I'm not
actually charged.
Yeah, but obviously there's a long way to go, and the police are fucking rotten.
Now they've got to go.
But yeah, it's.
I just really wanted to quickly touch on another story. So if you haven't already seen, there was a very young woman, I think she was 19,
21.
called, there you go, Blessing Olusegun, who went missing, and her body was, again, I didn't hear that she was missing until her body was found. So I heard about the story when she was found. But when her body was found, the police said that it wasn't suspicious and they weren't going to investigate. And this was a Black woman who was on the phone with her boyfriend, and she was saying to him that she was scared, and they're saying that that's not suspicious that her body was found. That was obviously, she was obviously killed. And that was really sad, because when you hear stories like that, like, I'm not saying this to be dramatic, I honestly always think this. Like, if I'm walking at night and I get scared, I always think to myself, if something happens to me, no one's going to look for me. Like, I know my family will look for me, but really and truly, like, who is going to look for me? No one's going to start a task force or anything like that.
Well, yeah.
Scary.
This is, yeah, again, like what I was thinking about this week, just, well, if something happened to me, or how viral would my missing poster go?
Yeah,
because
that's the thing, and you can't even say that, because then people get upset, because it's like, oh, but you're making somebody else's tragedy about you, but it's really not like that. You have to learn to see the world from another person's lens. The way that you've seen somebody that you see yourself in, you recognize a person that's is deserving of protection. Like, that's the way I see people who look like me. So obviously I don't have that lens. Like, I know people are taught obviously to see Black people as like this scary, super strong. I don't have that lens when I look at people who look like me. And I also, another thing that I do is I sometimes will reassess my thoughts as if I do, just in case I do have a bit of internalized racism or something. Like, sometimes if I'm being really like irritated or harsh with someone, I think about it and I'm like, I know this is problematic as fuck, but I do actually think, like, would I react this way if they were this race? Do you know what I mean? It helps me to...
I think sometimes you have to check in with yourself on that.
On the real. Don't tell
but it's
them,
I think it's hard, because there's just we're seeing a lot of people, and like people upset, they're grieving, and kind of, you know, saying this is, unfortunately, Sarah's death it's been politicized, and, you know, saying it shouldn't be, you know, it's not all meant. There's a lot of things. So there's this app called Nextdoor. I've told you about it. I think I've told podcast about it. Which is, so it's kind of like peer-to-peer support or messaging within your neighborhood. And there's a lot of stuff on there, and a friend of hers had written an article basically saying that she doesn't feel like Sarah wouldn't have wanted this. She wouldn't have wanted her death to be politicized like this. You know, it's not.
In which way? In what way?
In that there's, because when there was a vigil that was held at Clapham Common that turned into a protest, and, you know, we've seen the pictures of the police.
So she's saying that Sarah wouldn't have wanted people to be upset that she died, or
well, I think it's death. Like, basically, that what's upsetting for me is, and frustrating, is she's saying that it's not. She wouldn't have wanted it to turn into this thing where, you know, we're saying men need to do better, And I'm kind of like,
It was literally femicide. Your friend was murdered by a man for no reason.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with people?
Like, you know, saying many of her friends were men, and, you know,
so you don't think that she might, if she'd lived to tell the tale, really and truly, if she'd lived to tell the tale, you don't think that she would have been traumatized and maybe her views would have shifted?
Yeah.
Who says stuff like that? I'm sorry.
If anything terrible happened to me, yeah, it's, and then just the people, obviously I don't know why, but I got sucked into the comments, people, you know, saying, I completely agree with this, you know, but it's just all kind of like, but hold on a second, this is a political thing, and it's, you know, what happened to Sarah is horrible. It is horrific, and my heart breaks for her friends and her family, but my heart also breaks for the friends and family of people who didn't get the closure or the justice that her friends and family have got. So she can say, well, let us grieve in peace. Now we, at least, it's horrible knowing what happened, but I'm glad that we know, rather than, because not knowing would be worse. There are so many people who don't get that. Privilege is maybe not the right word, but kind of it's just frustrating where you just see a load of people, like, kind of, well, yeah, I think a load of white people and a load of white women especially, just saying, yeah, this is terrible.
That's
I'm like,
why I haven't.
It's not. This is. Of course, it's political. How can you say that it's not? Like, we shouldn't be upset and we shouldn't be angry that the reason why everybody's now talking about the fact that women walk these streets and feel afraid, and we call people when we're walking, we carry our keys in our hands. When you're saying all that, how can you not understand that the level of threat for women is not equal? It is so much higher if you take race into account, if you take in sexuality into account, or gender, if you take into disability into account, and no one talks about those things. It is not the same. Like, case in point here, the way that we talk, I don't feel now, I mean, I'm not going to, of course I feel the same, I feel the threat that I think all women feel, but I obviously do not feel it the same way that you feel it, because we've just talked about our own experiences, how, like, I will walk around outside and not feel like genuinely terrified. Obviously at the moment I feel a bit unsettled, but it's, you know,
people have always thought I was nuts for it as well.
Yeah,
I'm actually glad people are talking about how it doesn't make me nuts. I'm not joking. Like, even up to recently, that guy had got into it with, who I was trying to date, but it was just too misogynistic. He was telling me that, like, women are generally safer than men, and like men are, like, imagine if there's a war, and I was like, but women don't even need to go to war to gain that kind of trauma.
Yeah.
But I won't get into it, but I just feel like I've the most scared I've ever been in my life was when we lived on a private estate. So it's literally the most expensive house I've ever lived in my entire life, and the most terrified I've ever been walking home. There's like 2 street lights and no pavement, because I personally don't think we were rich enough to live there, because the idea is you're not walking, you're obviously driving home. So I'm like 17, I'm shitting myself, and people would say to me, how can you be scared here? I'm like, this is where people get. Anyway, I hate the countryside for that reason. Oh my God, the countryside at night, like when I'm going on a drive, because where we live, it's quite easy to get to the countryside. If I'm going on a drive with a guy and he's trying to go to the countryside, I'm like, no, because that's where people take you to die. No, thank you. Anywho, back to it.
Yeah.
So I was gonna, obviously everyone saw the Reclaim the Streets demo that turned into the what people are calling police brutality. Again, here I'm probably going to lack a bit of sensitivity, because people's reaction to it was like, the people couldn't even react to that. I'm not talking about the people who were out protesting, by the way, who I genuinely feel, because Reclaim the Streets is also run by Black women. So like, I feel like people are just taking a stand for the end of male violence, because even when people talk about men experience violence too. Yeah, from
men
men
against men. Who were you afraid of?
It's
a man. Yeah.
So yeah, I do believe in their ideals and motives. It was just crazy seeing the reaction to that. Like, and then the pictures that, obviously there's that one picture that becomes the poster picture of the white woman with red hair who's like on the floor, and I'm just like, it's just the difference between that picture and the picture from the last summer when there was the Black Lives Matter protest. It was just mental. But yeah, the police didn't need to go there, man. It's just like, everyone already hates you. Why are you going there? But it's like, this is what we always talk about this. Governments like push people towards revolution and radicalization. Like, your own demographic, those are the people, those like middle class white people, you are literally shitting on your own demographic. Like, what are you doing right now? But yeah,
there was also, I don't know if you've seen it, but again, because it's a local thing, I saw this post on Nextdoor about a woman who on last Saturday, when the vigil was, she was walking her dog in Clapham Common, and there was a drunk guy who was like, had his dick out and was just, being a drunk man with his dick out. Not very pleasant for anybody, especially if you're just trying to walk your dog when there's a vigil going on, when a woman's just been murdered. It's not nice. And so the place was crawling with police because of the vigil / protests, and the something like that. She was like, hey, there's a guy out there with his dick out and he's drunk and he's like, upsetting people, and kind of like, maybe you want to do something about it. A police woman had kind of went to go to talk to the man and see what was going on, and apparently a police man, and I gender these people because I feel like it's important in the distinction, said like, oh, we're not dealing with that, like we've had enough, like we've got enough going on with the riots.
That was not a riot.
No, of course it wasn't a riot, but they're like, yeah, this is how they're painting it. But
can I just also say, can I be problematic again? Do you know what I thought when I saw that? I was like, the police think they're at Notting Hill Carnival, because that is genuinely how they pull up to Carnival. There is way, 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 way more police at Notting Hill Carnival. And last time I was at Carnival, me and Sim saw literally a man body slammed into the floor. They had their knees on black women's like backs and necks for nothing, for dancing. So like, it's just hard for me to like, I'm supposed to sympathize, but it just makes me realize, like, I'm so used to the police being such a different beast. Like, you genuinely think the police are there to help you? Grow up. I'm sorry, but grow up. It just irritates me. I'm sorry.
I suppose it's again, hard when you're seeing people saying, oh, this is terrible, and you're like, this is normal.
Do you know what was terrible? It was terrible when Boris Johnson ran a campaign saying that he was going to increase police powers and people voted for him. That was terrible. It was terrible when he said he was clearing out 10,000 spaces in prison and increasing police powers and stopping searches, and every single black person on my timeline said, this is shit. And then what do you know, like 2 weeks later, I'm getting stopped and searched, and a white woman police officer has her hands all over me because she's looking for drugs that aren't on me. That was terrible. It was terrible when my trainer was late to our fucking Zoom workout because he was getting stopped and searched. It was terrible when my sister was late to our Zoom prayer meeting because she was getting stopped and searched. Like, that's terrible. It was terrible when they were following my ex around in a car, pulling up to him, telling him, we've got your plates, for no fucking reason. They're shit. It was terrible when they brought my brother home and said they didn't believe that he lived in that house. Oh my God. It was terrible when I was a child and I would look out the window, and every time we were driving back from Tottenham to Croydon, they would pull over my mum, my 5'0" mum, and they were shouting down on her. And my mum wasn't having it. That was terrible. I'm just saying, they have a track record. It was fucking terrible when I went to Spain 2 years ago, and the police there, who carry guns, by the way, stopped me and asked to see my passport just because they saw me. That was shit too. Like, oh, I don't know. I've had enough. Whoa, I didn't realise I'd had enough like that. Let's move on quickly. I will just end this by saying that Keir Starmer, you're a bitch, first of all. Because if Diane Abbott hadn't called him out on Twitter, can you imagine if you're not being called out on Twitter, he was going to abstain from the vote for this new fucking bill. So if you haven't heard, I have to mention it. It's called the Police Crime Sentencing and Courts Bill 2021. It's what the Conservatives are trying to put through. And that is what Keir Starmer wasn't even going to vote on. That is why I have a problem with that man. He is a bitch. He is the police. He was a prosecutor. He is the police. It just irritates me. How can you go from a human rights lawyer to, director of the prosecution? Google it, look up his track record, make your minds up for yourself. I'm just sick of Labour. Like, they just flip-flop. This is why I have a problem with Tony Blair, because he literally...
Yeah, this is why we've got... where we're in the situation that we're in with a fucking Tory government and also with Brexit because of ineffectual leadership from the Labour Party.
The Tories are really fucking bad though, because they've got a lot of money behind them. They have loopholes now. Also, I read something crazy. So their vote in the last election, oh my God, I don't want to give you the wrong statistics because it is mental. When was it? Why am I Googling Tory? General election. It's just that they went up something like 1.2%, but that won them 48 extra seats or something. I really need to check this because it was just like, what? It just doesn't, the maths isn't mathing. Oh my God, I love that it's in purple because I come here so often. Yeah, so they went up 47 seats with an increased vote of overall increase vote from the difference between the 2017 election to the 2019 election. A 1.2% increase of the overall votes won them 47 seats. It just like, I was like, first of all, when the idea of, because I obviously did, I say obviously because I feel like everyone did it. Everyone did history in school.
Yeah.
And so when you do A-level history, it's basically modern British and modern American history. So it's like you have to go through all the leaders from the 1920s. It's basically politics. It isn't history, it's politics. And I got really into British history because it just like, it doesn't make any sense.
That's why I couldn't get into it. I was like, no thanks, I'll just stick to the American stuff because it's a lot more like, I don't know.
Now I know because the way they were selling the American stuff to me was making me uncomfortable. I couldn't engage. But now I know what I do know about it. I feel like I would study harder now. Because the first year I did really well. In the second year, also their teacher changed. I hated my new teacher. I thought she was a joke. I was really disrespectful to her. I often wonder if that came from a position of sexism. Because she was like a young woman. She was a young white blonde woman. I was like, no.
Not, yeah.
And she was doing that thing like, oh, we're all friends, we're all mates, I'm your friend. And I was like, no, I don't respond to that. I respond to authoritarian history teachers who kick me out of the lesson because I'm late. My teacher before, he kicked me out of the lesson because I was late. It was like a TV program. Then the next time I had to come early, and then I put my hand up and I answered the question, and he literally went, Ruth, that's why I need you here on time. Like,
oh no. You were like, validation. Oh, I love it.
I wasn't, because I was like, this is embarrassing, sir. No shade. I know what you're trying to do, but this is not a film.
I will take myself outside if you pull that shit again. Yeah.
Don't you ever embarrass me like that again in my life. He was a really good teacher, though. He was a really, really good teacher. We had some really good teachers who, I felt like were more like professors. I was like, I feel like you're overqualified. And then when I went into upper sixth, for some reason, some teachers left, and we got like, that's when I had my English teacher who had a drinking problem, and I said she's drunk, and everyone thought I was being a bitch, and they thought I was joking. I was like, no, this woman's drunk.
Like Lady Whistletown.
Yes, that's how I know that.
Is that
one of them? She was lit. She was like doing all the voices. And then somebody came into school. I stopped going to the lessons because I was like, I'm not doing this. This is a mess. And everyone thought I was trying to be rebellious and use it as an excuse. I was like, what is wrong with you? Tell me why somebody picked her off the train tracks at the local train station.
What?
Because she was drunk.
On the actual tracks?
The tracks of the train station.
Walking on the tracks or having a kip? What do you mean?
I have no idea.
Did it happen, or is it an urban legend?
No,
do you think it's been embellished?
That's the thing. The guy who told us was like, I want to say this is too problematic. He was the Ricky Gervais of the year. Like, he was funny, but he was a bit like
cruel.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but he was funny. Like he said,
forgive funny people for a lot. Yeah.
No, he was funny, but
I know, I bet, but you probably also, you're like, well, you've got to laugh at him, and because you don't want to be the subject of his.
Yeah, right. I wish they would. By the time I was 16, the mouth I had on me, good luck.
But, you wanted to get roasted.
No, I mean, he could never. I would have killed him. But I would. That's another thing. I wasn't really on that because I realised that I can say things to people that would make them cry, whereas they could say things to me that would sting. So it's probably best I just kept my thoughts to myself. Like, it's not worth it. Like, you shouldn't be nasty to people. I don't think anyway. Like, if someone's joking on you and you really go, I feel like if you take it too far, it's not nice.
Yeah.
So I just I saved that for my family.
You're
That's why they hate me.
I could go in on you, but I won't.
But he wasn't really like Ricky Gervais, because that was a terrible because I don't know English comedians' names. That was a terrible
you grasped for the first one that came to mind.
Yeah, I'm not joking, because Ricky Gervais, I feel like he makes me feel uncomfortable. This guy never made me feel uncomfortable. I just mean he's got really dry sense of humor. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't be surprised if he added a little, do you know what I mean, a little spice on it. But definitely.
So it's basically she was probably just like slumped in a chair on the platform
on a bench.
She dozed off because she was drunk. We've all been there.
No, but like you're students.
No, of course.
Students shouldn't be finding you there. And it's just so typical that he would find her, because he was one of the.
How old was she?
I don't know what to call them. She was 40s, no, 50s.
Because I'm just thinking, think about the times when, like, if we've gone for a drink after work and you're on your way home, and then you're like,
have you ever gone to teach children and been drunk?
No, of course not. But like, ultimately, that's also a job that people might have. Oh, do you mean like? Sorry, wait. You mean like actually go into work drunk? Yeah, no,
I've gone into work stoned. I said that really loud. Oh, God.
I mean, there's probably definitely times I've gone into work where I've got home at 6.
Yeah,
probably should not have been in work. Yeah. Or
also though, at the time when I went into work, I should also not say this, but the people who ran the business smoke weed every day. They were always high. There's no way they noticed. They were high literally 24/7. I wonder how they did it.
What are the other salient news points?
Okay, I was just going to say, watch out for that bill, because basically it curbs.
And sign the petition against it.
Or do whatever you've got to do. I mean, if you're white, really go to the demonstrations. I'm not putting myself. I was like, I'm not risking my body. I hate when people say that. I personally don't believe in discouraging people from protesting. I don't think it makes sense. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I think you should, if you feel moved to protest, you should always protest. And outdoor protests have not yet caused a spike in corona. So yeah, no matter. Anywho, sorry, I just wanted to tell you that bill criminalizes like crazy stuff, like being in your car overnight, because they're trying to get at the traveller community, and it also just basically criminalizes your right to a peaceful protest, and most importantly, in my opinion, it criminalizes being a public nuisance. And you've got to watch out for sentencing, because you've got to remember with sentencing law, it's statistically proven that Black people get much longer sentences for a crime. So when you're talking about protecting statues, who are you really aiming that at? That's at Black people.
Oh, that's absolutely ridiculous. It made me Trevor Noah posted, he retweeted, I think it was like the Met Police or so. Oh, I don't know, maybe not the Met Police. No, it was an article basically showing the picture of the police protecting Churchill.
Winston Churchill statue.
I almost reposted it, but then I was like, maybe this isn't in good taste.
You should
but
always
it was fucking funny.
Like
he said, well, maybe he shouldn't have been out at night.
There was but I thought
that
was actually like a copy of so many jokes. Oh my god. And the person who really sent me was like this woman who retweeted the story where it's like the Tory government said they're gonna put more police out on patrol and give better lighting. Somebody retweeted it like it was a police officer that killed that woman. Like, what?
Don't fucking put plainclothes police officers. Don't put police officers in disguise to keep us safe when we're drinking. Also, no, thank you.
I just want to make it very clear that so increasing police powers, increasing stop and search, increasing the number of police, that doesn't decrease violent crime at all. The only thing that's been statistically proven to decrease violent crime is a decrease in poverty. And I'm not specifically talking about femicide and rape, because I feel like that is a separate issue related more to rape culture. And also the rape conviction rate has fallen so low that they're arguing that rape has essentially been decriminalised. I would argue it was never criminalised. Anyway, moving on. God damn it. I know we talk a lot, but hey, if we don't get it out of our brains, they'll eat us alive. So guys, we've got a new game that I'm going to play with Natalie. It's called the Loser Game. And I thought it was good because I'm personally trying to have less moments of feeling like cringing at myself or over analyzing my behavior or being too in my head. I think I've gotten way better. Like the things that used to kill me, like, you know, when you see those memes where like you're trying to sleep and then you remember what you said at 3 p.m. on April 25th, 2012. Yeah. I think I've gotten a lot better, but I would really just like to let go of all these things. And actually recording a podcast and having to stand by some of the things that I've said that I'm embarrassed about has been very helpful for me to learn to let things go, because it's like it's done now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. We'll say plenty of embarrassing things or problematic things or things that could easily be misconstrued or taken the wrong way.
Yeah, but it's also
for which I'm very sorry for, but
it's
don't drag me forward.
Part of growth is also like, because you can have the best intentions and the most knowledge, but if you communicate yourself incorrectly, you'll never get your point out. I don't know, part of unlearning things is to be able to say dumb things and take them back. So I'm talking about me now. By the way, when I say stuff like that, I'm always talking about me.
No, and I wholeheartedly agree, because I say some really stupid things and sometimes some really terrible things.
But sometimes some absolutely hilarious things. But that's
every now and again. Yeah. Every now and again, I'll say something funny.
Some gems. So the instructions to this game, which I'll paraphrase because who's reading all of this, but the first bit feels like it's important. The aim of the game is to share our failures in the most candid, vulnerable, and touching way possible, generating maximal sympathy, fellow feeling, and friendship. In this game, failure wins. And it's like, it reminds me of that thing I saw on TikTok where it's like a circle of friends and they each come to the front and they say like the embarrassing thing that they let a man do to them, and then they all clap it for each other and cheer. It's so funny. It is so funny. One of them's like they dropped out of their postgraduate degree to be with a man who was cheating on them the whole time.
Oh,
if that isn't a story for me, honey.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay.
So I've picked a random card and I'm just going to read it because I feel like whatever I pick, I should pick. And I'll just keep putting them to the back of the deck. Okay, it says, what might people be rightly suspicious of you about? I hate you and about in that context, sorry. What might people be rightly suspicious of you about? I think it should be, what about you should people be rightly suspicious
should make people suspicious.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, they got their point.
we think we'll answer it how we think you asked it.
Oh my God. I think that I make everything a joke to the point where like And I do think I've noticed I do this a lot. I don't even want to say. I feel it's so bad. I'm supposed to make you feel maximum sympathy, but I feel like it will just make everyone hate me. I feel like I make a joke of other people too much. Like they'll tell me something serious, and I feel like I make like little punchlines, and I think everything's funny, and I feel like it makes people feel invalidated. But I genuinely enjoy it and find it funny. But it's wrong.
What? Taking the piss out of other people, or what,
No, but like
making jokes
they're
out
most
of
vulnerable. Like the things they hold. So I just find it funny. I don't know why I do it. Like, say, for example, I'll give a vague example. So my cousin will be complaining to me about work, and she'll pour her heart out to me, and then we'll be in the living room watching TV, and I'll be like, oh yeah, but you wouldn't say that to your colleague, would you? Or something like that. Like, I always do shit like that, and I know it's not cool, but I genuinely find it funny, and I don't know why. I was listening to something today that really made me think, like, I need to stop doing that shit. It's not supportive.
Right. No, it's not. Okay, that's good. Good share.
So if you're suspicious that I'm doing that to you, I am. I'm a terrible person. Yeah.
Okay, you should be suspicious if I'm being critical or dismissive, then it's because I feel super insecure around you. And something about you is making me feel away, which is not at all your fault at all. And it's my thing to deal with. And it's super unfair of me to behave like that. But yeah, for sure, I've definitely been behaved in ways that I wish that I hadn't, because I felt incredibly insecure around people.
I've been trying to figure out, obviously my insecurity is not from being around people, because I haven't seen anyone. But I've been it's happened to me twice in the last month. Once when I was on my period and it was a full moon, so it made sense. But the other time I was like, where is this coming from? I started to Google and try and find out, like, what is the root of insecurity? Where does for me anyway, it's just like, for me it comes like a whole like cloud. Like, it's not like I'll be in a situation and I'll feel insecure. It's like my whole mentality will shift, and for like the whole week I'll be insecure, and I just want to know where does that come from? Is it hormonal? Is it just like, what triggers it, and why does it last? I don't know. Am I tired? Am I hungry?
Probably all of the above.
It's just mental. It makes me doubt everything. Oh, Pumpkin, thank you for sharing that. That's very, very cool of you. Have you ever like figured out how to like overcome that in the moment or anything like that, or is that just something you have to like?
No, I think it's just I'm loads more aware of it now, obviously, and so it doesn't happen as much. I don't think, but I've definitely had situations in the past, or sometimes if being in close proximity with people. Sometimes people just irritate me, and I can get quite short with them and just really like dismissive, and probably put them down, and it's not nice. It's probably a form of gaslighting, and I can recognize it when I'm doing it, and then I will try and correct it. But then I think sometimes I'll then overcompensate, which probably actually creates quite a lot of confusion for the person on the receiving end, because like the swings
up and down,
like, and it's so unfair, and I really recognize that. And I think at least part of the change is being aware that that's something that you do. But
gosh.
I also think sorry to interrupt, but this is going to be funny that I interrupted you with this particular point. I think I you might be suspicious that I always bring in my own experiences to something when you're talking about something, not you specifically necessarily, but I try really hard to not always make it about me when somebody else is kind of giving maybe their account of something, to say, oh yeah, and that happened to me and it was this kind of thing, and not in a way that's necessarily even a sharing thing. It's like just proving that you also have a story and have an opinion to say. And I have to kind of sometimes like check myself before I say things to make sure that I like what's the purpose of me sharing something? Is it adding value? Would it help that person? Or would it just be me kind of saying, well, yeah, that's here's my 2 cents on it, or what's happened to me. Sometimes I think it's
interesting that you think that, because honestly, when I listen back to this podcast, I do think that you speak with intention. Like, you seem to be somebody who speaks when you have something valid to say that elevates the conversation. But obviously that's in this environment. That is genuinely something I've thought. So it's interesting that you say that. Oh, is that just you being insecure?
Could be.
I don't know what insecurity is or why it lives in us, so I can't help you with that one.
There you go. That was yeah. Should we?
It's a fun game.
Clap ourselves. Yay! We should. You laugh at people, and I always make things about myself, and I'm overly critical. So I'll say, "Oh, you think that's bad? Well, listen to my story," and then Ruth will be like, "You are dumb for feeling that way.
You have feelings."
So I guess the moral of the story is just don't hang out with us. Never be in close. Not at all.
Yeah, it's true. You should be suspicious. There's just nothing good is happening.
Yeah.
But the fact that I find that so funny, like I genuinely take delight in that, and I find that so funny what we've just said is a sickness. I don't know what's wrong with me. Wow. Okay. And finally, on to this week's film.
Yay! Oh God, I was going to be like, another card, but no, we
do you want to do another card? Oh, okay. I'm like, there's so many.
I mean, we could, but I also feel like we've shared a lot.
Oh my God, we love it
so far, and
yeah. You want an affirmation card?
Should we end with an affirmation?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the film that we watched this week was the 40-year-old version.
I wasn't sure if I was supposed to say it, so I was like...
Oh, I know. I wasn't. I was like... Anyway, I said it. Yes, you did not miss here. I did not say virgin in a funny way. I said version.
It's a Netflix original.
And it's very, very, very good.
It's brilliant.
Highly recommend watching it. It's beautifully shot. It's well written. It's incredibly well acted. And it's just very
hilarious.
Yeah, very funny and thoughtful and considered.
It's so real.
So real.
There's no it's not to get into the end. It's like a happy, good, feel good film, but it's so real. Like there's no falsehood or fairy tale,
and there's no big massive thing or big massive end. Or it's just people's lives. Yeah,
it's so. When you're saying this, making me remember how I loved this film. I loved it. I might watch it again. It's really good.
It also maybe because this again, like Malcolm and Marie, this was shot in black and white. And when I think seeing modern films and like modern context shot in black and white, there really is something quite beautiful about it.
Gorgeous.
Recognizing all these things. It's not like a bygone era.
I have to be a bit of a nerd and say that the creator, so the main character, her name is Radha Blank. She's the writer as well, and I think she directed it as well. And I was watching, because it's a Netflix original, they've got like a little interview on YouTube, and she goes into like, they call it mood board, and they go into like her references, and her references are like, I don't know, I can't list them off the top of my head, but her references are like photographers and directors, and it shows clips of their work, and it's stunning the way it's shot, and she really has created that. And then she talks about people like Spike Lee, who is the only person I remember, obviously, because his name is so huge, and how New York itself is considered a character of the film, and she wanted to shoot that. And absolutely. I just thought that summed it up perfectly. I was like, not only are you a brilliant writer, you can even talk about the way you compose your film brilliantly. Like, I just thought it was such a good way to put it. But yeah, I thought she killed it. She crushed that.
She did.
I just can't imagine. Like, that was she wrote that for the stage, and then she adapted it into a film. Like,
oh wow,
I was just impressed. I've also felt inspired, because it's just like you watch so many things that are these big budget, like most things are like Marvel or all these like really like, I'm being shady, but like these things that are forced down your throat with advertising that you watch, and you're just like, is it good? Is it? Am I a twat for not liking it?
How much of that did you need? Did that big budget to achieve it, or did you just have the budget and you spent it? So, and it was like, you don't. Oh yeah. Anyway,
it's rare that you just get a story that isn't with no pretense. It's just a genuinely good story, and it's like a coming of age film, but it's about a black woman who's turning 40. And I feel like getting older is so much more interesting. Maybe because I'm getting older.
I know. I was thinking, like, actually, we aren't that far off. Well, it'll come around before you know it.
Yeah, and turning 30 for me was, not to be dramatic, but it really felt like a shedding of skin. Hold all the things that you hold on to, like your youth, the idea that you're young, you've got time, you'll make it, everything's going to be fine, everything is perfect because you are young, nothing can be wrong. Letting go of that idea and the time that you wanted things to happen at, like you're forced to live life in the moment, and it really has, for my mental health, it's been so fucking helpful to let all that bullshit go of feeling so under pressure against the clock.
So, and I wonder what we'll feel, what that kind of that shedding moment will be in our 40s. What are we going to be letting go from our 30s? Because it's not, by the time we're 40, we're not going to be letting go of the expectation that by the time we were 40 we would have achieved this, because we're like, fucking hell, we don't know what we're doing. We've come to the realization in our 30s that we don't know, and we shouldn't really be making.
I still don't think I fully let that go, because I still feel like what I've let go of is the idea that I can't start again. I know now I can start anything I want at any age I want. But I still have this like misconception that by the time I'm 40, I'll be more settled and financially stable, so I'll be able to take on all these huge projects. And it's like, I'm not working to
realistically
achieve that.
Is that, how are you making that happen? How are you like not reliving, how are you achieving your goal of that office building with the creche downstairs?
And it's also like, is that really my goal? And I'm like, I don't even know if that is. I think I'm just an artist in denial, which is so weird, because I just never saw myself that way. That's just not what I thought I was or would ever be. So it's just like, am I really doing this? I'd rather not. I'll trade anyone.
So I did write some notes, brief notes, because I was kind of just watching it as well. Mostly they were more at the beginning when I was like, what the hell? And it was, I think they're actually all centered around, or most of them, the conversation that she has with what I feel like he's called Mr. Whitman or something, you know, the white play, not the playwright, the wasn't really a producer, you know, basically the guy that is going to give her the go ahead or not go ahead to do that.
He runs the theatre, and he gets to choose what, I don't know what a position that would be. I'd guess a theatre director, because he gets to choose what shows go on. But he also gets to place people as producers and directors in other productions. He's basically a big cheese in theatre. He's the guy that makes things happen.
Problematic as hell, as you would expect.
Yeah, he's like a wealthy white man with no shame.
Yeah, so... Oh, I also I wrote down, like, her ringtone was Super Queen, RuPaul's Super Queen.
I didn't even
Which I just
notice that.
loved. Yeah, and just as she's talking to her kids, like waiting outside the school or the college, whatever it is, she's trying to be all cool, and then suddenly her phone starts going, "She's a super queen." I really appreciated that moment. And yeah, she's just a very talented wordsmith as well.
Yeah.
Like the things that she was rapping about were just, it was funny and relatable.
Yeah. I was going to say, I'm so messy. I was going to say, it's like if Flight of the Conchords, but if the lyrics had more depth.
Yeah.
But that sounds so messy.
I think everyone can agree that Flight of the Conchords weren't writing with the intention of having depth. I mean, they have a song called Part-Time Model about a woman who's just attractive enough to be only a part-time model, but she should probably keep her day job.
What about I'll Be the Racist Dragon? That was definitely, that had
oh my god
depth. Keep your hand off my toe, you'll make it dirty. I'll never forget that. I don't know why I found that funny. It's not funny. I'll be the racist dragon. Oh my god, but this wasn't like that. Because she's the main character.
Is absolutely not like that at all.
No, I don't know. I compare things to stuff that it's not like all the time. I love doing that.
Like completely different in the sense that they
oh my gosh, it's her namesake. She did what Issa Rae did. She used her name in the... Anyway, sorry.
What a great name, Radha. That's such a great name.
Beautiful
Apart
name.
from not Radha, the performing arts school.
What is that? Is that like Brit
Royal
School for
Academy for Dramatic Arts?
Oh my bad.
I want to say. What did you call it?
I called it Brit School for Adults.
No, I think it is. It is.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know. I just felt like that was dumb.
But that is actually what it is, pretty much. I think it's where people that went to Brit School would graduate to. Like that's the
next step.
Or at least maybe it was once upon a time, but like I don't keep up with these things. Maybe it's not.
Honey, the institute. Everyone's saying the institutions are losing their power, and I'm like,
are they?
Feel like I don't know. I don't know about this anymore. But I am becoming less impressed when people tell me certain things. I'm like, happy for you, sweetie. Anywho, she was a 30 under 30 playwright. So she was selected.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So obviously that's a lot of pressure because then people expect you to do all these amazing things and she never did them. So now she's turning 40. She's still a playwright. She's teaching, which is like...
Sorry, this isn't it. You're describing the plot of the movie. I thought you meant her in real life.
No, I think
that it's autobiographical.
It is. I think it's semi-autobiographical. I really do think it is. I think this is her life. It's about her experience of turning 40 and then needing a creative outlet. So she starts rapping, but then she's embarrassed to be rapping because she feels like she's too old. But her producer is like, but you're good. To be honest, that's such a lovely... I'm not going to lie, I can relate. There is obviously not on the same scale, but when I started recording, I felt like I was too old to be doing what I was doing, which kind of shows how age is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Too old to do... Like, what else are you going to do? Like, are you just going to turn 25 and just never do anything again?
And also, so what? Do people your age, or when you get older, do you only want to listen to people that are... like 21 singing about stuff? No, there's a market for people wanting to listen to
I thought it was like you only want to listen to people who've had a successful long musical career,
right? You wouldn't like if a new artist came out and they were 40, you'd be like, fuck that.
But the thing
You should have been making music forever. You had a job before, which isn't the case. Obviously, you wouldn't.
Because that pressure comes also from being a black woman, because if I was like a 4-year-old white man and I was in a band and we just popped, no one would really notice, because it made me think. I listen to bands where some members are much older. I don't even notice.
But how long have they been?
I won't know anything about them. I'll just listen to it and be like, oh, I like this song. I won't. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if it's an individual singer, you're like, oh, but who is this? Where were they born? How long have they been doing it? Da, da, da. But in a band, I'm just like, I don't fucking know who Keen are. I just like Bed Shaped.
Rude.
You don't like Bed Shaped?
I don't know if I've ever heard it.
It's about
No, wait, I'm sure I will have heard it. They had that one song, didn't they have, what is Spiral, one of their songs?
I don't know. I only know
that was a bit more like poppy rather than like...
No, I like a depressing rock ballad or nothing. You can keep that poppy shit for your friends. I'm not here for it. Because there's always like these bands that people call like dad rock bands, but they always have like at least 2 depressing ballads. So I'm like, mwah. Give that to Whitney, rest in peace. She would have killed that shit.
Right, I need to listen to this Bedtime. See if I'll probably be like, oh, yeah, I know it.
Bedshake,
Bedtime. I need to listen to Bedtime.
It's literally on Magic every other song, I feel like.
I don't listen to Magic.
What? Magic is arguably...
Why would I listen to Magic?
Genuinely good. Like, it plays like soul. I was going to say Earth, Wind and Fire. Like, that's a genre. Really good. That's the time I feel like making love to you. What else would you want to listen to? Give me some smooth grooves. Leave me alone. Because in the car, the other stations like Radio 1 and stuff, it's just, what are they playing? Unless it's like a specific...
I pop Radio on in the car just to try and keep somewhat current. That's a lie now. I'll listen to the podcast. This podcast.
I know you don't.
No, I do. That's how I knew so many of those bloody songs when we did
Oh my God, that's how you knew the Jason Derulo. I know them from TikTok and you know them from the radio.
But I knew that it was a TikTok song from the radio.
This is so 2020. It's that TikTok radio stuff. That song is so catchy.
It is so catchy.
Oh, it's annoying though.
Oh my God.
What were we even talking about?
What would Jason Derulo have done if TikTok hadn't come along?
Because he would have just been doing the same shit on Instagram. But
Instagram isn't a platform. It wouldn't have kicked. Like, I think TikTok saved his music career.
Absolutely not. I think it definitely elevated it, but saved is a reach because that man has billions and billions of streams. This is what people don't get about Jason Derulo. He's this like mega pop star that everyone refuses to acknowledge. Because I love me some Swalla La La. That song has 1 billion streams.
Yeah. No, I suppose that was before TikTok, but prior to that, I mean, yeah, he had lots of.
Just before TikTok, it felt like it went quiet for him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But maybe that was just a natural not lull in his career, but he was just taking some time out.
No, it's just between albums. He was banging his 18-year-old girlfriend.
I did not know that.
Wow, I'm messy. Anyway, what were we talking about? The film.
Is that how he got into TikTok?
TikTok is always around the corner. Speaking of TikTok, have you those kids like when the guy's like, Jabria, are you smart? And she's like, yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Jabria is actually his little sister, and she's been making these videos. Like, there's one where she's like, I've been in nursery or preschool. I don't know where she is. I've been in wherever I am for 101 days. I'm 101 years old. And then it's just her pretending to be an old lady, like shaking down the street. I'm like,
who's telling you to do this?
Or
is this your own original content? Because
this is what a 4-year-old thinks is banging content. And I'm like, as an adult woman, why do I find this so funny? Why is this so good? I'm 101 years old.
As an adult woman, why didn't I think of that? And also, if I did think of that, why wouldn't people find it funny? Why would people find it sad?
So it's okay for a kid to do it, but when I do it,
Yeah.
it's weird. Yeah, it's one of those.
But when I do it, you want to ask me if I'm okay?
But that's why I didn't want to record music, because it just feels like okay.
Oh,
so
everyone's
people-
like, oh, she must be like having some kind of like mid-quarter life crisis
I
because
genuinely
she's
think
trying to find
people do think
herself
that.
through music.
Yeah, I still think that people will look at what I'm doing like, okay, this is embarrassing.
Yeah, but then also you look at what they're doing and you're like, look, you're either doing something equally like embarrassing, quote unquote, but it's not. It's just you actually like trying to go out there and do something or have a hobby or make something or like stuff, whatever, or you're just doing nothing. You're going to work.
Yeah.
And then you just go out, I don't know, drinking or whatever. No one's going out drinking. Also, I don't think anybody thinks that rude. No, true.
I don't. Honestly, I don't care anymore. I just care more about the nudity and stuff now. I don't care that I'm doing it. I've accepted that this is what I do, and I don't care. But I just love that she touched on the fact that as you get older, like trying something new, just physically trying becomes embarrassing. Whereas doing what you've always been expected to do, especially if what you're expected to do is a difficult thing, like being a playwright is such a rare job. So if you've like been one of the chosen ones, and like you finally have to sell out for this opportunity, it's easier to sell out and just make
go with it,
that you hate than it is just to be like, okay, I'm going to try something new. The shame of trying is so ridiculous, and it's a plague because it stops you from doing stuff. Because she was actually a brilliant rapper.
Oh, she was the scene where she's doing her first kind of open mic and she's about to start off so amazing, so good. And then her friend and producer like turns up and she's like, oh, I'm so happy Archie's here. Let's talk about it. Oh, and let's also shout out to my amazing producer who made all the beat. And you're like, oh, this is a bit cringy, but it's
no,
cool
I couldn't watch that
this.
scene. I couldn't watch that scene.
And she did the yo-yo. She got into the yo-yo spiral.
I fast forwarded until she started saying yo. I was going to tell you this week, if anything on television has made me cringe, I've had to fast forward it. I can't watch somebody embarrassing themselves on TV. I'm like, life is humiliating, you know.
Yeah,
it's because she smoked that weed. So before performance, she smoked. As soon as she smoked that, I was like, don't do it. It will ruin you think it's helping, it won't. Like when you have a drink and you think it's helping, and then you go to sing and you're dehydrated and you go to hit a high note and it comes out like this. No. And you're like, oh shit. Maybe I'm not Johnny Cash.
And maybe I never will be.
Oh my god. I went to see The Streets live. It wasn't my choice. We were at a festival. Don't get it twisted. Like The Streets has very good songs, but I just mean at that particular festival, it was a messy festival. I don't know. I just like there's certain acts I like to see at festivals. It doesn't matter. I wasn't going to go in, and it was in a tent. I don't like being in a tent like that unless it's dance music. So we go in. Oh my god, I've talked too much. We go in, and it's just him, pissed out of his head, no shirt on. I'm pretty sure he had like a flag or something tied around his neck, with a can and a mic. I can't remember. It was on his back, so I genuinely don't know. I just remember something being tied around his neck. It was just a mess, and he had a can and a mic, and he was just kept stopping the music and stuff, and I was just like, but I told my friend who's a man about that, and he was like, yeah, he was a white man as well. He was like, yeah, that's what everyone wants to see. Everyone wants to see, like, it's like, do you know what I mean? Like it's a rock star thing. And I was just
You've paid money for this. You've paid good money.
It wasn't so much that, because I feel like a festival, even though it can be expensive, and to be honest, I think that was one of those festivals I don't think I actually paid for. But even though it can be expensive, you do kind of get your money's worth, because there's so many people to see. If you went to all those gigs, it would be fucking expensive as fuck.
But sometimes, especially if it's a day festival,
it was,
and you're trying to get from one place to the other, and there's clashes, and they don't plan it very well.
For me, it was just a mess. It was more watching somebody in a way that I get now that he doesn't give a shit. But at the time, I just felt like I was watching somebody doing something that they weren't comfortable with. Like maybe he'd had too much to drink or something and he got a bit fucked up. Then he had to perform, but he didn't mean to get that fucked up. So I just felt for him because I was like, poor man, because it's just like, that's awkward for him.
And that's his job as well. And then you have to, it's like,
I didn't
oh God,
think
I don't want to,
I didn't think, oh, he doesn't give a shit. I just felt like, oh my God, what a nightmare. Like, imagine you have one too many and then you have to go on stage. Next thing you know, you're just blabbering on.
Yeah, because people, even if it's short-lived, people will talk about it.
Nobody talked about it. No one gave a shit but me. Apparently, I'm the only one. But imagine if Beyonce did that.
Well, yeah.
That would actually be hilarious. Imagine Beyonce pissed with a Union Jack on.
Blue Ivy's at the sidelines, like.
No, Blue Ivy would cut the mic.
Yeah, this is no, yeah. This isn't just about you anymore. It's about me and my image.
I have a Grammy award winning.
I have Grammys to win, yeah. How old were you when you won your first Grammy, Mom?
Beyonce, if that's your real name.
Yeah.
Shout out to Blue Ivy. I don't know what.
I know, yeah.
Hilarious shout. She might well be.
What a mogul in the making. A music mogul. I mean,
it's like when, oh my God, I told you about when I kept seeing
wait, you need to move close to the mic.
oh sorry, when people kept posting like those you know, when the West family about like 2 years ago, there was a lot of fan pages and I had to start blocking them.
Kardashian West.
Yeah, to stop it coming up on my explore page. It would be like, I'm sorry, but if you make a fan page about somebody else's child, you need help.
Please go seek professional help.
That will never not be weird to me. How can you have a whole gallery of? But then I thought maybe these people are also kids.
Huh? No.
Maybe they're like.
If
12.
you have a child who has a fan page of another child, is running an account that is a fan page of another child, shut that down, because firstly, they shouldn't be having Instagram.
You can't, because it's like their little hobby, isn't it? It's like not letting your kid watch TV. It's like their little hobby. They're not doing anything wrong. They're just posting pictures. They're just posting pictures of somebody else's family. That's so weird.
Who as a like when you were a child, you were not like the people that you might have like joined a fan club of or whatever would not be the kids at that level. Maybe child stars, sure, but these kids are not child stars yet. They're just kids.
Somebody's family.
They're not even working children. Let's not get into that. But it's not as if they have like career children.
In a way, they are.
But not in the way that they have a TV show or their own music or whatever. They are just like career children by proximity to their parents.
You're right. Oh my God. I just thought it was so funny to see when I see you see a picture, you click on the page and it's just like a whole gallery. And I'm just like, this is nuts. It's like multiple pages of like, you're in your house, and I doubt it was a kid, it's probably an adult, and it's just like you're making a gallery.
Or it's
somebody else's family.
It's what a part of the management. And they create these pages maybe
like bots.
Yeah, but not. Yeah, that's to be honest, not even bots.
Those things are successful.
What was I gonna say? Oh, I can't wait for all the. Well, no, this is really mean to say. I shouldn't say this, but I do wonder how.
Don't say it. Don't reference the rehab or anything.
Oh no, I wasn't going to. No, I was gonna.
I thought.
I wasn't going to say. Oh, I can't wait till they're on rehab. No, I mean I know I didn't say it, but
yeah, but when we were coming of age or whatever, we had like Lionel Richie's daughter. Like there was a lot of people who were just buck wild in these streets. I feel like the kids aren't really doing that anymore.
But I think there's going to be there may well be a backlash, and to be honest, it could even happen with people like our peers. Like not just celebrity people we know about the over sharing, or sharenting as it has been coined, because you're doing something kind of almost non-consensually.
Of course, course, but there is a way. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong necessarily with sharing pictures of your children. I don't even think there's anything wrong with them wanting to like do their little toy box videos or make their funny videos, because honestly they like it. Like when we were kids, like we used to put on a show called Jizzy Whiz, and we'd make
Jizzy Whiz.
Yeah, no joke, that's what it was called. There was a song. I can't remember how it goes. Okay. We'd make like invites to the show and invite our family. If we could have had a TikTok and made our little shows, we would have been, oh my God, we would have been so happy, because it's just like you're just playing.
Yeah. No, we did as similarly the same things. It's just like I think there's a lot of sharing, and to be honest, it's a lot of the time you probably grow up and be like, no, that's, you know, you can treasure those memories because they actually exist. Yeah, it's not a photo album that isn't going to get lost or get degraded. By degraded, I mean like fall apart, you know.
It's just the frustration of being famous just because you're like not getting to choose. I wouldn't like that. Yeah. I don't think, obviously I don't expect to be a famous parent, but I don't think that I'll share pictures of my...
But your lover is so famous.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
I'm still so embarrassed. I have been thinking about him less like that, because somebody shared this tweet that was like his most problematic lyric, and then other people putting his other problematic lyrics.
Oh God.
And he just has this one slavery line where I'm just like, why would you say that?
Oh, no.
I really want to find it and read it because it's so bad.
Oh. Does he write all of his own material?
Not all of it. I mean, someone in the comments was making a joke about I bet the ghostwriter was going crazy with this one. But I don't, he has so like all of the bigger like quote unquote pop stars have writers who will write maybe like a chorus or a song structure, but so like it's not like he'll write all of his songs like just hold on, we're going home or something like that. But as a rapper, I do think that that's mostly him. Not all him, mostly him. And he writes for other people as well. But yeah, anyway, let's find this fucking lyric, because I think I bookmarked it to cool my loins. Oh my gosh, it was so messy. Oh my God, why? Like, why do I bookmark everything? If you bookmark everything, you will never be able to find it.
Also, don't bookmark things you know full well you're never going back to. I'll bookmark that article because I'll definitely read it. I'm not reading it.
Oh, I didn't bookmark it. Oh, yeah, I did. Okay, he said, slave to the pussy, but I'm playing the field. I'm not saying the N-word in that context because I don't feel like white people should hear that. I don't even want you to think about it. Do you get it? Slave to the pussy, but I'm... Yeah, it's a slavery bar. Slavery bars are my least favorite. There are so many. You wouldn't believe how many slavery bars where people are like whipping the pussy, whipping this. And I'm just like, whipping the pussy. Like, I'm just like, no, you're not. You're not whipping the pussy like a slave. First of all, you're barely doing anything to the pussy. Second of all, don't. Slavery references are just never funny. I have one problematic bar.
Or sexy.
No, I just hate slave. It's just like, oh my, not slavery. It's so gross. But yeah, that literally did cool my loins. I won't say the other thing on it because I feel like I don't have enough evidence and I'm just being gossipy. And remember, I'm not gossiping anymore. But yeah, there are some really problematic bars that do make me laugh. Rhonda. Oh my God, sorry, I'm in such severe stomach pain. I can't believe I just made that noise on air. I'm like, oh.
My stomach. Oh my God, we never even spoke about Cressida.
What is that?
Remember Cressida Dick? I don't know why I'm saying we never spoke about her and bringing it back, because we don't, she is a dick by name.
She's the head of the Met Police who said that the police wasn't institutionally racist.
But you just know that the police were so happy that they were able to trot out a woman that was the head of the Met Police at a time like this as some kind of, I suppose, positive PR for the police, She
was like, of course, as a woman, I've been afraid. I'm like, Cressida, shut the fuck up.
She's also saying that this is like the best time to be a woman in the police force.
I don't care.
Well, it's not true either. There are so many like women that are coming out saying I was it like on LinkedIn, and if coming out on LinkedIn saying I used to be a police officer and I was sexually harassed and abused by a colleague, a police officer, obviously. When I tried to report it, nothing was done, and then it was only when something worse happened to another colleague that it then came out. Loads of other women came out against him, and what then happened was I think got suspended on like full pay while they do the inquiry, and then just got transferred.
They love
nothing else, and you're like, so great. He has actually gained from this situation monetarily and just to move somewhere else to continue his bad work.
Because sexual assault and murder are not against what the police do. And somebody tweeted, it was like so good. I can't remember exactly, but they said something like, the police aren't accountable to the public because that's not who funds them. And I was like, that's so true. They work for the politicians, whoever's in charge at that time. And if that's what they want.
Yeah.
Sorry, we have to talk about this film. Oh my God.
I just don't have
oh my gosh, I
don't have loads to say, but
it's because it's a good film, and usually we just spend the whole time slagging it off. So Radha, who is when she starts rapping, she goes to this producer guy's house. So he has a studio set up in his apartment, as Americans say, and there's like a queue to record, and you pay in weed. And it's so funny because it really is like that. Like there's a place in Tottenham that I always tell my cousin about where she goes. I was talking about myself. I said she. Oh my God. Where Ruth goes, I go there, and that scene was just so funny because it's like you go there, you don't pay with cash or whatever, you just like chip in or whatever, and then like you just sit. When I used to go, like, because I went years ago and I got help with my drums, and it was just like I'd wait a bit and then I'd be on. But now it's like I go and there's like a queue. So when she got there and there was a queue so long, she fell asleep. It just made me laugh because I would go, I have work in the morning, not realizing how long I'd be waiting. He's like, yeah, come through. So you go, you're there till like midnight, and then you're like, oh my God, I've got to be up for work in a few hours.
It did make me think of you, the film.
And I'm nowhere near the front of this queue. And like when she got there, and it's just like that guy who was rapping was, I'm not saying he was bad, but he definitely wasn't good, and he was shouting. That took me out because the amount of times I've walked in and it's just like a man smoking and drinking and just shouting. I'm like, what are you screaming about? But the funny thing is, by the time it's been auto-tuned and engineered, I'm like, this sounds better than the music I make. And now I feel so dumb. So like she's just sitting there till the point where she falls asleep, and then she gets up and she leaves because she thinks obviously this producer's just left, but he's outside. And it's also like that, they'll like go and get food and come back.
But yeah, I suppose for her it was like 2 a.m. She's like, where's he gone? And the guy's like,
yeah, and she has to be up in the morning. So she leaves, but then she ends up going back. Oh my God, also he was really hot, the producer guy. Also, this is so random, but there's a rapper called Young M.A. I love Young M.A. Her music's really good. And she's in the film. So like Radha is like, originally she's putting on her playing like an independent theatre. And it's like a black-owned theatre, and it's like falling apart. And Young M.A. is just randomly on the stage. Do you know when the guy who runs the theatre is sitting down and there's like a woman on stage who's like, and he's like, I want more passion or something like that just to keep. She's a rapper who also has directed a porno for Pornhub. That is really good. If you're bored, go and give it a whiz.
A feature film, or
yeah, it's quite long, but it's definitely like modern porn. It's like straight to the explicit stuff. And I heard us in an interview talking about like they were like, what was it like directing the porn? And she was just like, she was like, I was trying to get them to act like more surprised. She was like, you've just walked in a room and there's a woman there to have sex. You wouldn't just be like, oh.
Cool, yeah.
Oh my God. But yeah.
For me.
But yeah, I don't think the acting needs to be good. I think that the sex needs to be good. But yeah, she ends up.
Sometimes that is acting.
The film. Yeah.
What?
Wow, that was deep. You know I'm going out.
What else?
The best bit for me was also when, so obviously she has to develop a play, and when she's describing the play, in the middle of the screen, the characters come up and they like act along.
Yeah.
And
that the characters, when the characters come up, they're in color. That kind of screenshot is like almost as if they were on almost like a TV screen within the screen.
Yeah.
Oh, what I thought was very funny also was when she's talking to the prickish theatre owner, and he's saying, Archie gave me your play to read. I read it. And she's like, oh, okay, cool. So what did you think? And he's like, you tell me in your words. And it's just like she's like, okay. And then she like gives one sentence about literally what the synopsis of the play, and which is all. It's like, you prick, you didn't need that information. What do you mean? It's not like some conceptual thing that you need you want the artist to kind of explain what was meant by it. It's
that's the thing, even in creative ideas, it's like you have to pitch them, and I hate that, because it's just like, I hate pitching full stop. I feel like you should be able to just say something to someone and they should just get it. Like, why do you have to sell it to me? Why do I have to put all this razzmatazz on it?
It's like, you read it, you listened to it, just it wasn't what he wanted though. He wanted the film's like a comment on how if you're a Black creator, you have to be making trauma porn basically for people to engage. The poverty porn thing was.
Yeah, it can't just be a story. It can't just be a story about Black people, like a Black couple from a Black perspective, without. They had to the point where, to get the play on, she had to add white characters and have a white director. And that whole milk thing was just, it's so typical, because it's just like, do you really think Black people don't drink soy milk? Like, is it that deep for you? I don't know.
Black people also can be lactose intolerant. Black people can also not like milk. It's
you just drink it anyway sometimes. But yeah, we are. What was I gonna say about? Oh my God, obviously at the end, sorry to skip to the end, when she gets up and she basically says, oh, okay, sorry, I'll go back. You know when she choked out that guy? So when the film director basically tells her film is terrible, or her play is terrible, and she chokes him. Yeah. I thought that was, you know how in films they show somebody choking someone and then they show what really happened? Like, the choking was in her imagination.
Oh, right, yeah. And then it cuts
to the next scene, I was like, oh my God, she actually
did,
choked that man, who also molests her friend. I thought it was important that they put that in, because that's really what it's like.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I've had someone say that to me. So I sent an EP to the same person who did my PR for my first release, and he was like, so what do you think about this, or something like that? He literally said that to me.
In your words, what is this song about?
Yeah, and it was just like, he was kind of basically saying it's like not as good as what you've done before, or it's not your best work or whatever. Yeah. And obviously I felt really, because it's really like, it can be really like disheartening. You do get thick skin in the end though, but it's just like, fucking hell, you're basically telling me you hate this.
Well, it's somebody saying, can you justify why you've done this?
Yes.
But I don't need to do that.
But someone said to me, which I hope is good advice for anybody out there, once, that like when I told her what, she's older, she's like a songwriter and she's more experienced, she was like, people usually say that because they don't know how to market you or sell it. It's, or they don't have the right context. It's got like nothing to do with you. And I was like, that's a fact, because it's just like, yeah, they're kind of spinning it back around onto you to make you feel, but also like they don't know what to do with it either. Oh, sorry, my stomach. I need to stop moaning like a freaking pregnant cow. Oh my God, it's the bloody twins. Not funny. Imagine I was already pregnant with Drake's twins and then I found out that lyric. I'd be like, what the fuck is this?
Darn it. Well, I'd have questions if you were pregnant with Drake's twins, first of all.
What, right now? Like how logistically?
Yeah. When did you meet him?
Why did he go for it?
What? Yeah. Did you wear masks? Did you break convention? Did you?
My face, because that's the only one I could get with it.
Oh gosh,
wow.
No. I'm talking in the context of the pandemic.
I got a digital IG filter to make me look like an Instagram
Oh my God.
model.
I'm telling you. So I've now, because I'm insane, I've got like 1,000 jobs. One of my contracts is uses Zoom and one uses Hangouts. And because I've been used to using Zoom for so long, it's only like last year that I was working somewhere that used Hangouts. Fucking hell, I look not good on Google Hangouts.
Google doesn't give a fuck how you look. That's a fact.
First of all, Google for some reason like zooms right in, so I'm here on the camera rather than Zoom where it's a nice distance. I can add that nice filter over so it sort of just blurs out your face and you don't have to like worry about putting like makeup on or whatever. And admittedly, I only found out about this Zoom filter a few weeks ago, but it's really made a difference and I'm very happy about it. But it makes the stark difference between Hangouts and Zoom, well, even starker. Like,
Google
terrible.
need to work on that. They've gone a bit too Microsofty on the old Hangouts.
Yeah, or maybe it's also just I need to actually sort out my laptop so that my camera is better. But then also that doesn't explain why Zoom makes me look good and Hangouts doesn't.
Because they've optimized it to make they realize that people are vain and self-conscious, and if they can make you look good, you'll use it more. Like, Google, get your shit together.
Google don't care.
I used Google Hangouts before for a call, and I was like, I'm cuter than this. But you have to. Somebody on Twitter said, I'm sure I've said this before. It was a skincare guru person. Like, if you're taking a picture of yourself and you don't like the way you look, just move the camera further away. And I was like, oh yeah. It's really changed my life. It's like, are you ugly or are you just holding
too
a camera
close,
really close to your face?
Yeah.
What do you look like from a normal human distance? Oh, you look fine.
Well, yeah, I guess people aren't looking at you right here.
At you. No one is walking up to you with a microscope to look at your face. Nobody cares.
That's so true. No one needs to see a picture of me that close, because that's not how close anybody
will never be that close to you
is, or will ever be that close to me again.
Oh my God, that's so real. If they are that close to you, it's for intimacy. Which brings us on to how Radha ended up banging the producer. Okay, you know that scene where they had sex? I didn't. My cousin was like, they're going to have
very
sex.
tender.
Oh my God, I missed.
And I think that she got like what looked and sounded to be the best head of her life.
Oh my God. I was going to say musicians give good head, but I don't know if that's a generalization. I could make a chart of like a
professions chart.
Yeah. And what they're good at. Finance people are good at making you feel like you need them. The sex is actually terrible. But they're very attractive.
But you're gonna have to plot the cross section of like people and demographics. It can't just be occupations, because I think that's going to play a big factor in it.
It doesn't actually. I'm thinking about it. Oh, there is some crossover. Oh my god, it's gonna be a chart of sweeping generalizations. So it's gonna age poorly.
Yeah,
meaning as soon as it's
out of date already. Yeah.
But yeah,
she got with the the younger, attractive, very talented producer. I didn't
think they were going to have sex in that moment. I really didn't.
I knew it as soon as she looked at the camera. You just knew. But then it wasn't like the kind of like, I thought maybe she turned to him and it would get really passionate, but it was actually just, then it just cut to them just being in bed and kind of quite, very like intimate kissing rather than like real hot and heavy. And then he went down on her. It
really is like that. It's usually like a lot of like this and then a lot of genital stuff. I was like, what am I doing with these hands?
And then they were talking afterwards, and she was doing her research, and when she was talking about the art that her mum made, and it flashed up to the postcards that her mum made. It was incredible. Absolutely incredible. Good. Yeah.
Oh man. And it also makes you realize, like, if you are somebody who either thinks of yourself as an artist or somebody who creates art, like, it's your life's work isn't what you think it is, if that makes sense. It's like, it's your job is literally your vocation or whatever. What you desire to do is to create. It's not necessarily anything else. And it also frustrated me because it reminds
your life is almost what your life work will be, the moments that you create with
everyone's
people.
Is. Oh my god, everyone's is.
Oh my god.
Natalie with the
deep. Yeah. Your life is your own life's work.
Oh my god, did we just discover the meaning of life? I love how I put we in it. Like, I did nothing.
No, you were there. We arrived at this together.
I was on the Zoom call. Oh my god. What was I going to say? It once again frustrated me because you know how you can start getting all deep and philosophical as soon as you see something in black and white. You're like, oh my god, capitalism is robbing us of so much creativity. Think about, like, if people had like more safety in terms of housing and food and you didn't have to worry, think about the albums that would have been made, or the paintings that would have been painted, or the books that would have been written. Like, think about all these things, even the inventions that would get made.
But then also capitalism wants to remind you that you need those kind of strife. You need that strife to create that. And if you didn't have that, but what it's failing to say is it's not fair to put that amount of pressure on some people to be completely exceptional, to be able to pull yourself out of that strife, and you're the only ones that therefore deserve to be lauded or celebrated, and you're the only ones with talent. No, there are people that
it's not true.
Yeah, that have absolute talent, but they can't, talent alone isn't going to pull you out of poverty.
Yeah, it's the whole pull yourself up by the bootstrap thing, which is a myth. And also, like, even thinking about like young people who get caught up, who are victims of crime, because for some reason, if you're a young person from a certain demographic, namely if like you're a young black man, even if you're like literally 14 and you're stabbed to death, you're not seen as a victim. And it's just like, who would that person have been?
Yeah,
I know that's a extreme example, but it's just like, when people die for no reason, it's just always like, what, like, before their time, it's just like, what life would they have lived? Like, if you really like say 3 musicians, or if you really like 3 authors, think about how many other authors out there that are just as good, that maybe even people have written books in other languages that will never get translated to English. Like, there's so many ways in which you miss out on just having more because of Boris Johnson. I'm sorry.
There it is. Whoop, there it is.
That's why everything is political, because it literally isn't fair.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about like community.
We're all being robbed of so much.
So much. Imagine if you could go like super local everywhere, all over the world. Imagine if you could just pop out on a Friday night and there was like, I have to pay a $5 to get into an auditorium and see the best play you've ever seen in your life. Yeah. And with the best drinks you've ever tasted, because the person who's making the drinks is actually passionate about what they do and isn't just doing it
paid,
as a job.
Not just a shitty wage.
Shit. And also like racism blocks a lot as well, because like you're missing, there's so much talent. Don't get me started. Something just rumbled in me and I was like, oh. So many things that aren't getting made, like in the film, like her play that didn't get made. We'll never know if that was good, because that's why
it had to be whitewashed.
It had to get turned into a fiasco. And this was a good film actually, because I don't 100% always get, because people always talk about, for example, Lee Daniels, who made Precious, the film Precious, and he made Empire, and he recently made that Billie Holiday film that won. What did it win? I don't follow award shows anymore. I really don't care.
I don't know.
I'm like, what's that got to do with me if I'm not getting an award? Honey, if I can't wear a dress, I don't give a fuck. But show me what you're wearing, please. Live for it. But yeah, people are really slagging that film off, and they were just like, he turns everything into like this melodramatic mess. Like it has to be so extreme. And sometimes I feel bad because I'm just like, but first of all, I love Empire. And I'm like, as a person whose life is quite messy, I'm just like, it seems melodramatic, but then I'm like, oh, does it? Because then you look at things like I May Destroy You. That's pure drama.
Yeah.
It's and that is very reflective of life, but it actually doesn't make...
There is a difference though between that and then what they are talking about in that, which she did beautifully in this film, the whole trauma porn, poverty porn, where we like
you enjoy the character.
You need to consume something like that is so that you can feel like, oh, isn't it terrible? It's almost like it feeds into that
and feel
like,
sorry for,
or not even, exactly. It feeds into that white savior complex that it's like, wow, 100%. It's just got to be so bad, and we, isn't it terrible, and isn't it, and we need to, which I mean, I'm sure even with the best intentions in the world, I'm probably guilty of that as well, because I think if you aren't a Black person, you will be guilty of doing that in some way, without meaning to, if that makes sense. Like,
oh my God, this is reminding me of my biggest shame. Like, everyone has a conversation that they're really embarrassed about, that they ever thought that way. So my biggest shame, and I'm just going to be really honest about it, was basically Albius. And it was like, okay. So I do think the point I was trying to communicate at the time, this made me kind of realize, okay, that's what I meant, but I still think it was Albius what I said. Is that how you say that? I still don't know.
Wait, oh my God. Okay. I was thinking, is she still talking about Albie, racist dragon? What is happening here?
The fact that I don't know how to say words and I still just say them with 100% confidence. I don't like ableist. Like, what am I not able to do? They need a new word. Anyway, whatever. There must be a word that just means body functions differently in Latin. Whatever, I don't care. The English language is shit. It's the only one I can speak. I can't speak it. I just proved that. We were watching this show, and I was with, like, you have, I'm so fucking problematic. Just be honest and say how you feel. You have, like, friends that are, like, a bit more of acquaintances, like party friends or whatever. So I'm with my party friends in Leeds, and I'm at their house, and it's like, they're all, like, a bunch of white people, no shade to them, and they're watching a show, except for one girl who's mixed race. And she's actually a friend. I really like that girl. We were watching a show. I'm not saying the others weren't, whatever, fuck it, I've said it. We were watching a show, and it's like a BBC Three documentary and it's about a little person, and she's very, very short. And the way that BBC Three frames things, it kind of frames everything through a very sympathetic lens, which I personally feel like makes, and it does it with all its documentaries, I personally feel like it makes really cheap documentaries. Oh my God, I'm so shady. Where it kind of is designed to make you feel like you're better than the subject, like, so you can be like, feel good for feeling sorry for them. And it makes me sick. And I hate sitting in a room full of people who can feed into that energy and feel like they're starting to feel good about themselves. I was just like, so for that reason, I said, this is ridiculous. And everyone went dead quiet, but it was just really irritating me. And you know how I am, I'll just start laughing.
Yeah.
So me and my friend were walking home, and she was like, you know, my little sister who was just born, she had twin little sisters. One of them has dwarfism. And I found what you said, like, she was super gentle, by the way. Like, offered me a kindness, which I don't know if I would have shown her. Do you know what I mean? I'd have been
yeah.
She was just like, she was born with dwarfism, and we've been working through it as a family, and I just feel like it's important for that girl to have that show. And instead of just apologizing, I did that thing that people do to me all the time, which is why I say to them, listen, one day you're going to look back on this conversation and you're going to hate yourself. Just shut up and listen to me. From personal experience. And I was just trying to justify what I'd said by saying all these crazy things. Like, one of the things I said was like, if I had a child and they were in a wheelchair, I wouldn't want anyone to feel sorry for them. I'd want them to be who they are. What a fucked up thing to say.
Yeah.
I was 20, by the way, so don't judge me too harshly.
No, I don't, because I don't judge you at all. I think it's so hard.
But the thing is, I didn't mean those things that I was saying. I was saying them because I didn't want her to think I was a bad person. And that is the dumbest shit ever. Like, that is one that really, honestly, that conversation changed me for the rest of my life. Because the next day when I sat and I thought about the way I behaved, I was like, I need to learn to take an L. Like, if I've said something fucked up or dumb and I've hurt somebody who I like or love, like, what the fuck am I doing doubling down just because I'm ashamed to be wrong? Like, that's fucked up. Like, you have to listen to people. And really, that's not even what I was trying to say. What I was really trying to say is that it makes me feel uncomfortable to paint somebody's life like it's something to look down on. But what she was saying, which was way more important, it's just like, you've never had to be confronted with somebody who looks like this, who's different from you, and that's also making you feel uncomfortable. It's like what's more important? So, but this show, I'm not justifying what I'm saying, because I still think I was so far in the wrong. I've never been more wrong in my life. I think about it all the time. I'm not joking. I just always think about that conversation, and that's why, like, calling people out on their shit is so important. And it really does change the way that you see the world, because somebody said that to me, it just,
you'll never do it again.
Nah, not just do it changes the way you think. Like, you're always having to think from another perspective. Like, another example is when I was in the tube station, and I'm a very impatient person, and I think this is when I was like 23. I was like, oh, hurry up, who is holding up like this queue? And the girl next to me was like, it could just be someone who's disabled and is taking longer to walk. And just something that small now, like, I'm like, fuck, like, that's probably what's actually happening. Like, things like that shift the way you think. But sorry, back to the film, just the idea of, like, this is the first time I've seen somebody actually make the point that people, like, fester and enjoy and get delight from seeing other people suffer. And it feeds into this idea that people need sympathy, when actually the situations that people are being put in are purposeful through policies and laws and decisions and society. It's like everything's on purpose. You know what I mean? It's like, why do you need to prop people up to feel sorry for them instead of giving them more than what you have so that they have enough? But also, I was still dead wrong. I'm going to regret bringing up that conversation when I got called out. But yeah.
I think it's, thank you for sharing that. That's not easy. It really isn't easy to
admit that you were a twat.
well, even to yourself, it's really hard. But then I know exactly what you're like when you relive these moments, and it just makes you. It just it makes you cringe and not and hurt as well, because the thought that you've actually hurt somebody, and then by not just admitting and saying, "Oh shit, I'm really sorry, but thank you
you're
for
dead
explaining
wrong.
to me,"
Yeah,
and
but
like I
don't
just
think
didn't think about it, but so thank you. You're like,
you're trying to justify something that is injustifiable. It's like, even if that is what you thought, like when you get into that defensive mode, you're not trying to really explain yourself. You're trying to make the other person not think you're a bad person. When actually, if you've grown up in this
you've missed the
world,
point.
you do have fucked up views that need to be corrected. Because again, like even now, I cringe, but I don't feel bad for myself. I definitely don't feel sorry for myself, because I don't have to deal with the problem. Like, it would be ridiculous to make myself a victim of something when actually I'm the perpetrator. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh my God, my stomach. Wow.
I mean, I think on that note, we have been talking for quite some time.
Way too long.
Way too long. So should we wrap things up? And did you have some affirmation cards, or what was the?
Yeah, they're an old deck from obviously we stand her on this podcast. Is this a podcast? Oh my God, my memory's
No,
gone.
it's just a collection of words that two friends throw at each other
and always regret.
That should be the blurb.
Oh my God, that's actually really good.
We'll forget it immediately. Oh, it's fine. We're recording. We can write it. We can just transcribe it back later.
So it's called. Oh, sorry. It's from the podcast Say Your Mind. Collect Your Thought released like affirmation cards. These were ages ago, but these are the only affirmation cards I got. And I just thought, since we're playing all these like games where we make each other feel bad about ourselves, in an effort to improve the world. Yeah, I just wanna.
Let's end on something that we can all.
Okay, this is relevant. The card says, "At my big age, wisdom is my friend." And then it says, "Not just the years based on this current time on earth. You have many lives of wisdom to access. Use all of your ancestral knowing to guide yourself." And that is a Fendi fact, honey. Why did I say that? Too much. Shout out to Nicki Minaj, I love you. But yeah, you do. Instead of, I would say, the lesson of today's pod and the film, instead of dwelling on what could have been and what you should have been and who you thought you were going to be, you should just be who you are. And part of that is embracing that you have harmed people, and by ignoring other people's situations and problems and identities, you will continue to do that. So it's better to suck it up, love.
Yeah, and I suppose, wow. Needed to hear that. I feel like, I guess it's really difficult, but you have to forgive yourself for causing that harm. The other person doesn't need to forgive you. So
I genuinely don't think they do.
No, not at all. But I'm speaking to myself more than and all of you guys. But to move forward in life, you have to be able to forgive yourself for what you've done.
That's otherwise, one of the first things my therapist said to me, because I was going crazy about a situation that had happened, and she was like, I'd never thought about trying to forgive myself. But I'm getting better at letting things go.
Well, because we don't want, it goes back to that thing where you don't want somebody else to think badly of you. But the fact is, if you hurt somebody, then they may never think kindly of you again. They shouldn't need to, they shouldn't have to. And it doesn't matter what the context was or what caused you to do that damage. You did it and it hurt them. That's it. So if you live your life by trying to move on with your life on the basis that other people will forgive you and then like you or love you again, you're just never going to go far.
Yeah, that's so dumb. They won't. And they might not, and they shouldn't have to. But I think that when things are structural, I think it's more important to like shift your mind more away from yourself and think more like, because ignorance when it comes to structural discrimination or structural oppression, ignorance means that it can continue. Once you know something, you need to change your behavior, because that person, whoever they are, because of their identity, they're they're suffering in a way. So you can't ignore that and make yourself like a martyr of their problems. Like, oh my God, I can't believe they would say that. I'm a good person. Like, fuck off. Like, we live in a fucked up world. And by holding on to that childish notion, no shade, I'm not saying you're a bad person, but it is childish to think that way, because it's like, you are an adult. You are also a brilliant human being. Like, use your whole mind and your whole heart and try and make the world better, rather than sitting down and feeling sorry for yourself on one little thing. Anyway, sorry.
Were you talking directly to me there? Ouch.
No, I wasn't.
Like,
I
no, but
actually wasn't. I was talking to that woman on Twitter who was talking shit, honey.
Okay.
Yeah. But you also, in this life, not everyone's like that. You will have enemies. Sorry. Some people are genuinely terrible people.
Yeah. But and also remember, if you have quote unquote enemies or people that don't like you, that doesn't mean that you're a terrible person at heart. It might do. I mean, there's of course, but I'm speaking.
It's Morgan. If you're listening to this,
I'm thinking,
Annie.
oh yeah, you're a dick.
It's
like, you may just not be. Well, he's terrible. I think it's. My point is.
Another thing is, those people, if they change tomorrow, if Boris Johnson changed tomorrow and suddenly had all these, like, and started doing amazing things, obviously I'm never going to let go what he does, and it will take me a long time to trust him again, because the harm he's done is irreversible. But
he should be allowed to.
It would still be great. I would benefit from that. Like, no one wants you to be a dick, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry for talking too much. This podcast is way too long.
Jesus. Cut. Yeah. Anyway, bye.
I'm not cutting shit. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Rewind the tape. Okay, that was really bad.